Boogeyman band coming round the bend. Is Boogeyman band. Is Boogeyman band.
Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends, and thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. This is a video that I've been wanting to do for a while. It's celebrating the 40th anniversary of a film that has become very special in my life. It's a film that I initially did not like, and I actually have documentation of that from some of my early videos on this channel. Of course, I'm talking about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. And back in 2020, I actually did a retrospective on this film. I showcased the NECA figures that I had. I talked about the Gutter Garbs Horror-thon shirt that I had gotten, one that I had seen Sean Clark wear. Sean Clark, of course, from Horror's Hallowed Grounds, Thing with Two Heads podcast. This film has just grown in popularity with me and with many others. 10 years ago, it was first released by Scream Factory on Blu-ray. And it seems like since that time, this film has just grown in popularity. I love this hoodie that I got that I'm wearing. This is actually from Cavity Colors. The design on it is from Devin Whitehead. To commemorate the 40th anniversary of the film, which opened on the 22nd of October in 1982, sort of starting a new trend after the Michael Myers story was thought to have been done with the end of Halloween 2. And the whole idea was that they were going to do a different Halloween-themed movie each year. So Halloween 3 would deal with witchcraft, and as Tommy Lee Wallace has always called it, a pod movie. As opposed to the Halloween films before, Halloween 1 and 2 being knife movies. And then the plan after that was almost, like something like you see with American Horror Story now, where like every season is something different. So yeah, it was sort of ahead of its time. It didn't really find its audience outside of like having a cult following initially. And then, of course, in 1988, Michael Myers came back. Kind of been the track for the franchise ever since. They never tried to do something like this. With Halloween Ends kind of, closing the door on the Michael Myers, Laurie Strode storyline, I really hope that, the franchise is going to go on. They are going to do something different with it. I would really love to see a sequel to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I don't know if that's something that's in the cards, but it's been kind of teased because throughout Halloween 2018 and Kills, they showed the Silver Shamrock masks. But today I just thought I would gush a little bit on the film, talk about like how I first got introduced to it. So we're gonna have to go to like Halloween 1983. That year I was Luke Skywalker. I still remember like it was like we had finished trick-or-treating. My grandparents had cable TV on. I don't know if it was HBO or Showtime. I think it was probably HBO this time. And I remember Halloween 3 Season of the Witch came on. My grandmother at the time was a fan of the original Halloween. She had seen it, and I had seen Halloween 2. I had seen some of Halloween, but I remember we watched a little bit of Halloween 3, and we didn't get very far. We got to the part where one of the suits kills Mr. Grimbridge in his room by snapping the bridge of his nose and breaking his skull. Yeah, we got to that part, and my grandmother said, "We're turning this off." And I don't know if she ever watched it again. I think she tried to watch it again, and she got to a point where the scene with little Buddy has the snakes and the bugs and everything come out of him. So I always remember she said, "Oh, that's the movie with all the bugs," and she didn't like it. So I think she got to that point and sort of shut it off. But it took me a while to become a fan of it. I remember renting it when I got a little bit older and still not really liking it. I thought Stacey Nelkin was hot because I was a teenager, and I just said, "Oh, she's cute." And I knew who Tom Atkins was from The Fog and Creepshow and Lethal Weapon and Night of the Creeps. And so, I watched it just knowing who he was, but it just, Michael Myers not being in it, it was just weird to me that it was called Halloween 3. and there was no Michael Myers. So I sort of put it away for a long time and never really revisited it. And I remember when Scream Factory put out the special edition Blu-rays, I was only interested in Halloween 2 because the first two releases they did were Halloween 2 and Halloween 3. And I didn't buy Halloween 3 for almost, I'm going to say I didn't pick it up until maybe several months after it came out. And I remember my wife was the one that talked me into getting it. And she said, why don't you pick it up? You know, give it another chance. You love Halloween. Why don't you give this movie another chance? And I watched it, and I was like going, you know, this movie's pretty cool. It still didn't become my favorite for a while. And then I really got into location videos and the more Scream Factory stuff that came out that had kind of that tie-in with Horror's Hallowed Grounds. I was familiar with Sean Clark's Horror's Hallowed Grounds from Never Sleep Again, the Elm Street Legacy, as well as the Halloween 25th Anniversary documentary. It really sort of got me interested into going to some of these locations. So we drove up there. It's about a 4-hour drive up there, and we went up there, and if you watch my first on-location video in Lolita, you'll actually see that we drive on the same road that Ellie Grimbridge and Dr. Chalice drive in on. And I was filming it the entire time, and I just remember seeing that big factory come up. It was on the right-hand side of us when we were driving into town, and it just being this ominous figure in front of us, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It is a very eerie building, and it is a piece of horror history. And you know, I just remember standing and looking at it. And the town of Lolita, like I said, no disrespect, but it is very eerie. It's very quiet. The first time we went, it was on a Sunday. It was on my birthday in 2019. And it was very, like, there was no one around. There was actually a photographer from the area named Sandy Peterson who happened to be doing a photo shoot. And I believe it was for a young girl's graduation that year. And she actually took a picture of my wife and I in front of, you know, where the placard, where it said Red Coast, it said Redwood Coast, and it said Halloween 3 and Tom Atkins. She took a picture of my wife and I in front of it as we kind of explored the area. There was some parts that, you know, I've known some people that have hopped the security gate and gone into the back of the building. I never did that on both times that I've gone to the location. I never did because it's private property. Even if, you know, it is a rundown factory that may get demolished now because it is falling apart more since last year's 6.2 earthquake. I still don't want to trespass on private property. But yeah, seeing it and walking around the downtown area of Lolita. The first time I went, I didn't go where the motel location was, and that had a lot to do with Sean Clark's interactions with one of the residents that was living there, because it's a private area now. People live in those little bungalow style houses. So I didn't want to risk that because my wife was with me and I'm just really protective of her. So yeah, but seeing it, and it just really made me love the film even more, seeing these locations. And not only have I been to the town of Lolita, where most of the exterior footage was shot for the film, but also been to Sierra Madre, where the Buccaneer was, and that is the bar that Dr. Dan Chalice is drinking at when Ellie Grimbridge comes up to him to talk to him about her father and everything. My wife and I got to go behind the bar where the mural is. A lot of the same stuff you saw in the film is still at the location, but that mural is amazing. And Jennifer and her mom Jerry, who are the owners of the bar, were so sweet to us when we were there. And then the bartender said, you know, would you like to come back behind the bar and we'll take a picture with you with the mural and everything? And I was just like, really? I mean, it was so cool, and they were cool with me filming there. Really, really surreal seeing it, and one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. So, you know, seeing the locations in Lolita, being in Sierra Madre, and seeing the locations there, the Buccaneer, what a blast. These memories mean so much to me, and this film means absolutely so much to me. I know that they're not going to abandon the franchise now. They're going to try to find something else to do with it. I really hope that we get a sequel to Halloween 3. This film has just continued to grow in popularity, especially in the last 10 years. It's brilliantly written, it's brilliantly directed and acted, and I love the setting, the Santa Mira setting, and you know, the characters of Dr. Dan Chalice and Ellie Grimbridge, you know, going on this quest to find out answers about her father and this town and everything to do with these masks. And of course, Dan O'Hurley is Connell Cochran, a very, very twisted individual that's plotting to kill all the children in the world that are wearing these masks on Halloween night during the Horror-thon. And I would love to see a film that picks up 41 years after the events of this. What happened? Did Connell Cochran succeed in his plan to wipe out the children? Was Dan Chalice able to stop it? I would really just love to see a continuation of this movie. I think it would do well. I think that there's a huge fan base for this film now that would support it. What do you guys think? Are you guys a fan of Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, or did you grow up loving it? Was it one that you kind of warmed up to over time? Let me know down in the comment section below. Would love to hear from everyone. Thank you so much for all the continued support of Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone. And I promise there's some really cool stuff coming up for Halloween, which is only a little under 2 weeks away, which is pretty crazy. So thanks so much, everyone, for watching. I hope everyone's doing well. I'll talk to you again real soon. Take it easy. Stay scared as always. Peace. Hey fellow Fright Fiends, just want to say thank you again for supporting Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone. If you're brand new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell notification so you're updated every time I drop a new video. I typically do this once or twice a week with new content. I've been doing this for over 11 years, and the horror genre is a passion of mine, and it really means a lot to me that I can share that passion with all of you guys. Thanks so much again for the support, and I'll talk to you again later. Take it easy, stay scared as always. Peace.